Hello friends and welcome to this session for GATE and ESC Electrical Engineering. My friend, this session is going to be one of the most awesome session and you are going to really learn something very new and something that will help you in the exam. In the exam for GATE, may it be 2021 or it may be 2022. Now, before we start the lecture, my friend, let me introduce you myself. My name is Ankit Goyal. I got AIR 1 in GATE 2014 and GATE 2018. And my friend, I was also awarded the President of India Gold Medal by the President himself in the year 2013 when I graduated from IIT Indore. Presently, I am working as a director at an academy for GATE department, and that is why constantly I am able to bring new and more initiatives for you. Because an academy is not an institute. An academy is not a coaching. An academy is more of a revolution. An academy is more of a feeling. An academy has everything right that is wrong with every other coaching institute in the country. The name An Academy, my friend, has been comprised of two words, un and academy. That means it has everything that is not there in an academy. So an academy cares about the student in the best way possible. It cares about the student most than or more than any other person can. All the initiatives are centered on the student. That is, they are always working towards the student welfare. And that is why, my friend, you are watching this course on power system. That is why, my friend, you are watching this course on power system free of cost on our YouTube channel. So my friend, if you are visiting this channel for the first time, make sure that you have subscribed, because we have electrical machine, power electronics, power system, communication system, EMT, EDC, network, signal, control, digital, everything is here on this channel, that too free of cost, my friend. But what has An Academy done? An Academy has brought a revolution in the country where they are providing the most affordable education, and that too free of that too at the most affordable price, as well as free of cost on YouTube. So my friend, if you want to be a part of the revolution that An Academy has created by means of the courses that are running on An Academy, where they are bringing you the best ever educators of the country on a single platform. That is, you, my friend, can be able to learn from India's top educator at the cheapest or at the most affordable prices possible. At the most affordable prices possible. Now, my friend, I'm talking to you. You can dare to dream. You can dare to enter a PSU. You can dare to dream about MTech from an IIT. Why? Because An Academy has made it possible. An Academy has done everything that is required to get the best rank in GATE examination. So my friend, if you want to join An Academy, make sure that you use the code Ankit ESE, because the door to An Academy opens with this code, and this directly makes me your mentor so that I can guide you at each and every step regarding your GATE preparation. And not only this, you will also get 10% discount on your subscription. Now, what does An Academy bring for you? Not only the live classes. The live classes are the best part of An Academy, where you can interact with the educator, ask your doubt, and make sure that you understand each and every concept and then only exit the class. But other than that, you get dedicated doubt session, where you can post a pic of a question and ask any doubt, any number of doubts. Then you have weekly quizzes. Every Sunday we test how much you have understood. Then there are daily practice paper which we provide you for practice. Then there are practice questions from An Academy. Then there are test series from An Academy. Then there is crash course, where we will boost your rank in the last few months. There is rank improvement batch for the students who have already done well in the GATE examination. Now, my friend, all of this just with one subscription fees, where you don't have to pay anything again and again or anything extra. That is the magic of An Academy. Just join An Academy without thinking too much.
Hi guys, up to now whatever we have covered in fault analysis was centered around the symmetrical fault analysis. That is, we were considering the faults which were symmetrical in all the three phases, and hence the system remained balanced. So in this lecture what we will do is, we will consider different cases of symmetrical fault analysis, based on the problems that have come in the GATE examination, so that you get a fair idea of what kind of problems can be asked and how to tackle those sort of problems. So let us get started with the first problem. It is saying a three-phase generator rated at 100 MVA 11 kV is connected through circuit breaker to a transformer. Now, first thing, whenever you are given a fault analysis problem and you are being given the configuration of the network, then if you are not given the figure, try to draw the figure alongside. So it is saying a generator is there which is connected through a circuit breaker to a transformer. Okay. The generator has subtransient reactance 26% and synchronous reactance 130%. The generator is operating at no load and rated voltage. What does the rated voltage signifies here? That the voltage is 1 angle 0 degree pu. This is your VT, and due to no load, what I understand is IA is 0, so EF will be equal to VT, hence which will be equal to 1 angle 0. Okay. When a three-phase short circuit fault occurs between the breakers and the transformers. So here we are getting a three-phase short circuit fault. We need to find the initial symmetrical RMS current in the breaker. Initial means subtransient. Symmetrical RMS current means only the AC component. Okay. So, initial symmetrical RMS current will be EF by XD double dash, because the circuit is short circuited here. So the EMF of this generator is EF and the impedance is 0.26. So it will be 1 by J 0.26. So how much will this come out to be? 1 divided by 0.26, that is 3.846 angle minus 90 degree pu. Now to calculate the actual value, we need the value of base current. The value of base current can be calculated from the S rating or the MVA rating and the voltage rating. So how will you calculate? You have to calculate the base current first. That is 110 MVA by root 3 into 11 kV. So this will come out to be 5.77 kiloampere. Now what will be the actual value of current? It will be the base current multiplied by your per unit current. So per unit current is 3.846. So fault current is 3.846 into 5.77. So it will come out to be 22.2 kilo amps. Okay. So remember, whenever we are talking in per unit, the per unit current will remain same throughout the system, because in PU the entire network is connected in series and there is no transformation ratio. But if you are talking about actual current, then first see in which section we are trying to determine the current and use the base current for that particular section. Because whenever there will be transformers, then you have to use the base current of a particular section to determine the overall current. Now let us move on to the next problem. It is saying 4 identical alternators, each rated 20 MVA 11 kV, having subtransient reactance 16%, are operating in parallel. So how the system looks like? These are 4 alternators. This is their reactances, and all are operating in parallel. It is asking the short circuit level at the bus bars. Now we will assume no load condition. So in general we will assume 1 angle 0 as the EMF. The reactance of each generator is 0.16 pu. Now when you wish to calculate the current, Now, as I told you, every machine will try to deliver the current into the fault. So how will the current flow? Like this, from here and here. So since this is short circuited, this is grounded. So the current will be 4 times the individual current. Individual current is J.16. So it will be J.04. So 100 by 4 will be 25 angle minus 90 degree pu. Now S will be Vi conjugate. So it will be 25 into 1, that is 25 pu. So in actual value it will be 25 pu into base. Base is 20 MVA. So it will be 500 MVA. This is the short circuit level at the bus bars. So remember, in case of a three-phase short circuit fault, the per unit value of fault current is same as the per unit value of short circuit MVA, because the voltage at no load is equal to 1 angle 0, which is equal to the rated voltage. So we can directly say per unit MVA is same as your per unit fault current. In our next problem, it is saying in a power system with negligible resistance, the fault current to a point is 8 pu. So fault current is given as 8 pu. The series reactance to be included at fault point to limit short circuit current to 5 pu. Whenever we are talking about power system, so one thing that you must remember is we will replace the power system by a Thevenin equivalent. That is V Thevenin in series with X Thevenin. Now it is connected to a bus bar. So what happens is that fault MVA IF is 8 pu. So IF is equal to actually 1 by X Thevenin, which is equal to 8 pu. So it implies X Thevenin is equal to 1 by 8, which is equal to 0.125 pu. Now we are considering a series reactance. So the system will look something like this: X Thevenin, X series. So the fault current must be 5 pu, which will be equal to 1 upon X Thevenin plus X series. So here X Thevenin plus X series will come out to be 0.2 pu, which implies X series will be 0.075 pu. Okay, this much reactance must be included in series to limit the fault current to 5 per unit. Now, there is a catch here. The assumption that I have made is no load condition. How I am saying that I made this assumption? Because I took the voltage as 1 angle 0. So if the fault occurs under no load condition, then you can take the voltage directly as 1 angle 0, because no current will be flowing and there will be no voltage drop, and hence the voltage will be same as the rated voltage. In our next problem, it is saying the below diagram shows the layout of a power system. I have shown the diagram in the next slide, having two generators A and B connected to 11 kV bus. So these are the two generators A and B connected to the 11 kV bus, which are also fed through two transformers C and D from a 132 volt grid. This is the 132 volt grid. This is the transformer C and transformer D. Now the reactance of A, B, C, D and R are in pu, a common MVA kV base. All the generated voltage in AB and grid are 1 pu and assumed as in phase at the time of fault. So VA is equal to VB is equal to V grid. It is saying they are 1 pu and all are in the same phase. Since all are in the same phase, it implies that all the angles will be same. I am assuming the angle as 0 degree. The steady state symmetrical three-phase fault current on the feeder. Okay. So here the fault is shown. We have to first draw the equivalent circuit. So how we will draw? 1 angle 0, J.2, then here 0.1. We are saying that grid source has a negligible reactance, so we will simply replace it as 1 angle 0. This will be J.2. This will be 1 angle 0, J.2. Now it is very difficult to simplify this network directly, so what I will do is I will divide this middle source into two parts, one with this J.2, other with this J.2. So how it will look like? 1 angle 0, 1 angle 0, this will again be 1 angle 0, this will again be 1 angle 0. So I have just divided a voltage source connected in parallel with two devices as individual two voltage sources. J.1, 0.2, 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. Now since both the EMFs are same, we can replace it by a single EMF source having the voltage 1 angle 0, and the reactance will be in parallel combination of J.2 and J.2, that is J.1. One angle 0, this is J.1, then 1 angle 0, this is J.1, and here we have a fault. Now this generator will supply the current something like this, and this will supply directly. So whenever we are calculating the fault current, we will compute the sum of the two generator currents. The first generator current will be 1 upon J.1, that is 10 angle minus 90. Other will be 1 upon J.2, that is 5 angle minus 90. So total overall fault current will be sum of the two, that is 15 angle minus 90 degree pu. Okay, that will be the fault current in the system. So the entire problem in the fault analysis, that too for a symmetrical fault analysis, revolves around simplifying the equivalent circuit of the system. If you are able to combine the reactances and the voltage sources, then the problem will reduce to a very simple problem of just the basic network solving. In our next problem, it is saying 4 identical 100 MVA 33 kV generators are operating in parallel as shown in two bus bar section interconnected through a current limiting reactor XPU. Now what is a current limiting reactor? Basically, a current limiting reactor is connected between the two buses to limit the short circuit fault current, because by connecting this reactor we are effectively increasing the reactance and hence decreasing the fault current. Each generator has a reactance 0.2 pu. The value of reactor X to limit the symmetrical short circuit current through the circuit to 1500 MVA. So we are given the short circuit MVA as 1500 MVA, and if we assume the base as 100 MVA, so it is how much? 1500 by 100, that is 15 pu. Now we know whatever is the short circuit MVA in pu, the same is the fault current in pu. Okay. So now we have to compute the fault current and equate it to 15 to derive the value of X. So first let us draw the equivalent circuit. So this is one generator, this is second generator, this is your current limiting reactor, this is third generator, and this is fourth generator. J.2, J.2, J.1. So this is x, not J.1. We will write it as Jx, J.2 and J.2. All the EMFs will be taken as 1 angle 0. Now you can combine these two sources in parallel and these two in parallel. The fault is occurring here. So how will this be reduced? This will be 1 angle 0 in series with parallel combination of the two, that is J.1 in between a reactor X and then the other generator, that is 1 angle 0 in series with J.1. Now fault is occurring here, so one current will go directly, other will flow like this. So 15 will be equal to 1 by 0.1 plus 1 by 0.1 plus x. 15 minus 1 by 0.1 will be 10. So it implies x will come out to be 0.1 pu. That will be the current limiting reactor X to be installed to limit the short circuit fault current to 15 pu. Okay, so that is how we design the rating and the value of the current limiting reactor for the case of power system protection, or based on the fault analysis. In our next problem, it is saying a 50 Hz alternator is rated as 500 MVA 20 kV with XD is equal to 1 pu and X double dash D is 0.2 pu. Now it supplies a purely resistive load of 400 megawatt at 20 kV. Now see, before the fault we are given a load. So this is the case of a loaded system. It is not the case of a no load system. Now this load is directly connected across the generator terminals. So what is happening is, this is my generator J1 EF. Here we have a purely resistive load like this, 400 megawatt. So I can calculate IR or IL. 400 into 10 raised to power 6 by, or let us rather solve this in pu. So I will assume base as 500 MVA and 20 kV. So what is 400 megawatt in pu? That is 400 by 500, 0.8 pu. Now since the voltage is at the rated, that is 20 kV, so voltage is equal to 20 by 20, that is equal to 1 pu. Now since voltage is equal to 1 pu, power is 0.8 pu. Power is actually VI cos phi in per unit. 0.8 is equal to 1 into I into power factor is given as unity. So current will be 0.8 pu. Now as I told you, in case of a symmetrical fault analysis, the assumption that we made was generator was modeled as a constant voltage source behind subtransient reactance. So the EMF of generator must remain constant under even the faulty condition. So let us calculate EMF. EMF will be Vt plus JIAXT. Vt is 1 angle 0 plus J into XD is 1 into I is 0.8. This will be 1 plus J 0.8 pu. Now what happens when the fault occurs? The entire current will go into the fault and we will enter the subtransient region. So how will my system look like? Since we enter subtransient region, the reactance become 0.2. This is the short circuit. So IF will be 1 plus J 0.8 divided by J 0.2. So this will be minus 5J plus 4, which comes out to be 6.4 pu. Okay. So that is how you can calculate the fault current for the case of a loaded synchronous machine. Okay, that is whenever the machine is supplying a load, first calculate the EMF and then use that EMF to find the fault current. The other method to deal with a loaded synchronous machine is to first obtain a steady state solution, that is the solution of the system before the occurrence of fault. In steady state solution, what you will compute is all the currents and voltages at any point of interest. Then what to do is, in the next step, you will have to replace all the reactances by their subtransient values. Okay, and we have to make all the EMF sources as 0, that is short circuiting. Now what we will get is here a passive Thevenin network. Why passive? Because there is no energy source, so there is no active network. Now we will excite this network by negative of pre-fault voltage in series with fault impedance ZF. Okay, I will show you how it is done. Then we will compute post-fault current as pre-fault current plus fault current. Fault current will be calculated from the step number 3. So this is how we deal with the case of a loaded system. So this is one of the other methods that is based on the Thevenin equivalent. But I would recommend you the first method, in which we found out the EMF, as that is the most accurate method. If you are able to apply such a method, then it is the best way out possible. But in many books you will see that they have done the problems based on this Thevenin. That is why I am telling you this, otherwise it is not much relevant to the GATE exam. You can follow the EMF method, that will give you exact results. So let us see this method with the help of a problem. It is saying a synchronous generator and motor each rated 25 MVA, 11 kV, 15% subtransient reactance are connected through a transformer and a line as shown. The transformer is rated as 25 MVA, 11 by 66 and 66 by 11. So now first we will divide the power system into section based on transformer. Now if you see here, all the devices have the power rating of 25 MVA. So why not assume it as the base? Then we will have to change a lot less values. Now generator has a voltage of 11 kV. So let us say 11 kV is the base. This transformer is 11 by 66. So the secondary voltage will become 66. This is 66 by 11. So secondary will become 11 kV. So now we have got the base of each and every system. Now generator base remains same, 25 MVA, 11 kV. So reactance will also remain same, J.15. Transformer base is 11 kV, 25 MVA. So reactance will remain same, J.1. Line has a base of 25 MVA, 66 kV, which is same as earlier. So it will be J.1. Similarly, transformer T2 has also the same base, J.2. Now motor is drawing 15 megawatt at 0.8 power factor leading. So this is the load on the system before the occurrence of fault. Hence it is the case of a loaded system. Terminal voltage is 10.6. So let me calculate the PU values. 15 by 25, that is equal to 0.6 PU. And terminal voltage is 10.6, which will be divided by 11 because it is talking about section number 3. So it will come out to be point how much? 9636. Okay, this will be the terminal voltage. To calculate the current before the occurrence of fault, what we will do? We will divide the power by V cos phi. That is I pre-fault will be 0.9636 divided by, power, that is 0.6 divided by 0.9636 into power factor. Power factor is 0.8 leading. So this current will come out to be 0.7783. Since it is leading, angle will be 36.9 degree PU. Because voltage angle we are assuming as 0. So current angle will be positive. so it will be greater than voltage, it leads the voltage. Now we have analyzed the step number 1, that is we have obtained the steady state solution before the occurrence of fault. Now there are two ways forward from here. One is to calculate the EMF of generator as well as the motor to determine the fault current. Other is the Thevenin method. Now if we draw the equivalent circuit, how will it look like? First we will have the generator. Generator will have a subtransient reactance 0.15. This will be Eg. Then there will be transformer with its leakage reactance J.1. Then there will be transmission line J.1. Then next transformer J.1. Then next motor J.15. Then this will be E motor. Now exactly what is happening is the fault is coming here. So here I know what is the voltage as well as the current before the occurrence of fault. Current will be flowing like this. Now, so there are other two ways. We know the voltage here is 0.9636 angle 0. So what you can do is, you can based on this voltage and current that we have found out in the previous step, calculate Eg and Em and then short circuit this point to determine the fault current. That is the exact analysis. But other way around, what you can do is, in the next step it had asked us to remove all the voltage source and we will get a passive Thevenin network. So what you will do is, you will remove this voltage source, short circuit this. So the network that will remain is these four are in series. This will be 0.45. And this will be in parallel J.15. This will be the network that will remain. This is my fault point. Now we have to excite it by the negative of pre-fault voltage. That is how negative positive. So I am connecting it to the negative terminal in series with fault impedance, which is not given in this question, so we will take it as 0. So this voltage is 0.9636 angle 0. Now the current flowing through this 0.45 will be actually generator current. So generator current during the fault will be 0.9636 by J.45. How much will this come out to be? If you divide 0.9636 by J.45, it will come out to be minus J 2.141 pu. Similarly, motor current during the fault now when you will ground this, the current will flow out of the motor, that is current will start delivering the current, motor will start delivering the current 0.9636 by J.15. How much will this come out to be? Minus J 6.423 pu. Now earlier motor was absorbing the current, now it is delivering the current. So the direction of current is reversed. So the total current in motor, or we can say I motor post fault, will be pre-fault current plus your during the fault current. Pre-fault current was 7.7783 angle 36.9. Now we will have to subtract this current because this current is going out of the motor. Earlier current was into the motor. So it will be 6.423 J. So this comes out to be 6.918 angle 84.83 degree pu. Similarly, if we talk about generator, in generator earlier also it was delivering the current, now also it is delivering the current. So I generator post fault will be 0.7786 angle 36.9 plus minus 2.141 J. we will have to add both the currents. So it will be 1.7856 angle minus 69.6 degree PU. Okay. Now if you see here, the voltage is actually angle 0, but the motor current is coming angle 84.83. That is, the motor current is leading the voltage. Now how come, as I told you, the fault power factor is always lagging? Then how come the motor current is leading the voltage? Here also there is a fault, so fault current must have been lagging. The problem is that motor is delivering the current and I am assuming the current is going into the motor. So actually the assumed direction and the actual direction of the motor current are opposite. And if you draw the opposite of a lagging phasor, what you will get will be a leading phasor. How? Suppose this is the voltage, this is your current, it is lagging the voltage. Now if you draw minus I, it is actually leading the voltage. So whenever you will commit an error in the direction of assumed current, you will observe that the fault current will lead the fault voltage. Okay. Why is it leading? Because the assumed direction is opposite to actual direction, which introduces a 180 degree phase shift. Hence the power factor goes from leading to lagging and vice versa. Let us see an example based on this concept. It is saying a 3-phase to ground fault takes place at location F1 and F2. If the fault takes place at location F1, then the voltage and current are at bus A are VF1 and IF1. If it takes at F2, it is at VF2 and IF2. We need to find the correct voltages, that is, which voltage will lead the current and which will lag. Now, as I told you, whenever the fault will occur, entire current will go into the fault like this. Okay, so first I am assuming at F1. Now take the bus A. Here IF1 and IF2 have been shown from left to right. But if you see, when the fault occurs at F1, the current at bus A is from right to left. That is, I assumed is equal to minus I actual. Both are in opposite directions. So here IF1 will lead VF1. Whenever the direction is opposite to the actual direction, the current will lead the voltage, or we can say VF1 will lag IF1. Now let us take the example of fault at F2. If fault occurs at F2, then current will go like this and this. So if you see at bus A, current is going from left to right. So IF2 assumed will be same as IF2 actual. Since both are same, the direction is correct. Hence IF2 will lag VF2, or we can say VF2 will lead IF2. Okay. So this will be the case whenever you will deal with the symmetrical short circuit fault. That is, if your assumed direction is opposite to the given direction, then the result will be leading power factor. If it is same as the actual, then it will be lagging power factor. Let us move on to the last problem. It is saying a sustained 3-phase fault. Sustained means steady state. Occurs in power system shown in the figure. The current and voltage phasors are drawn on common reference after natural transients have died down. That is, we have reached steady state. We need to find the fault location. Now, as I told you, one thing to remember, the fault current will lead the fault voltage only if the direction shown and the direction actual are opposite. So here if you see, I2 leads V1 and V2. So that means I2 is shown opposite. I2 should go like this. Now we know all the currents should go into the fault. So let me first assume that the current fault occurs at P. So how will I1 be? I1 will go like this, I2 will also go like this. So now I2 satisfy the criteria that I2 should be from right to left, but I1 is from left to right and it is lagging the voltage, so that means direction is correct. Since I1 is lagging the voltage, that means the direction shown is same as the direction assumed, or direction shown is same as the actual direction. Hence, I1 cannot be reversed, so P cannot be the fault location. If P were fault location, I1 as well as I2 will be reversed and both will be leading the voltage. Now assume that the fault is at R. Then the current will go like this. Okay. So I2 is in the same direction as shown, but just now we figured out since I2 is leading, it must be in opposite direction. So fault cannot be at R. If we talk about S, then how will the current go? Like this and like this. So here if you see, the current I4 will be reversed. Okay, if we talk about S, the current I4 is reversed, but as you see, I4 must remain as it is because it is lagging the voltage. So assume direction or given direction is same as the actual direction. So last option that remains with us is Q. If fault occurs at Q, then I1 will go into the fault, I3 will go into the fault, I4 will go into the fault like this. So I2 direction is reversed. So it satisfies all the criteria that I2 direction is reversed and the entire current goes into the fault. And the other thing that you can observe is I1 has the highest magnitude. That is, fault must be located nearest to I1. Because the nearer the fault to a bus, the lesser the impedance and higher will be the fault current. So highest fault current has the fault nearest to the bus. So nearest to the bus V1 or 1 is point Q. So answer should be Q. Okay. So you have to observe two things. If any current or any fault current is leading the fault voltage, so assume direction or given direction is opposite to the actual, and if any current has the highest magnitude, so fault is nearest to that current location. So these two things will help you in non-trivial problems like this that can be asked in GATE. Other than that, the problems that can be framed is for finding the fault current. That is simple. You have to draw the equivalent circuit and then derive the fault current. So these sort of problems are generally framed from the symmetrical fault analysis. In the next lecture, we will start with unsymmetrical fault analysis and we will see how to deal with the unbalanced faults.
So my friend, if you want to join Unacademy, if you liked the lecture, if you like the content that you have just watched and you have decided that Unacademy is the right place for you and you want to learn with me, you want to learn from me, then don't hesitate, because that is where we are conducting free classes every day that will boost your GATE rank. So if you decide to take subscription, click on GATE and ESE, click on get subscription. After this, you can choose the plan that you want to opt for. The final year and dropper can take 1 year plan, second and the third year can take 2 year plan. But don't forget to use the code Ankit ESE. This will give you 10% off as well as it will bring you under my guidance. And as you can see, the prices are really affordable, my friend. It is much less than any other institute can offer you, and that is why I keep repeating, Unacademy is not an academy. It is a revolution. It is a feeling. You can make the payment by credit, debit card, EMI, net banking. Also, EMI is available on debit card, but for HDFC debit card and Bajaj Finserv debit card. So if you are from a weak financial background, you can pay the amount in installments, but only use the code Ankit ESE. And my friend, these are some videos where I have told how to study, how to get the best rank in GATE, and these videos will really help you in cracking GATE. So make sure that you watch each and every one of them. And my friend, these are our other channels, like for mechanical we have, for civil also we have, for computer science we have for SSC, JEE, all branches, electrical, mechanical, civil. And on this channel we have the previous year question video solution, that too free of cost. and many more channels will be coming very, very soon for you guys. So be a part of our YouTube family and you can take the benefit of all the free content that we are bringing. And my friend, this is my Telegram channel where you will find the notes of each and every lecture that I take. And this is my Unacademy profile which you can follow to watch my content for free on Unacademy, because there also I am taking regular free classes. So if you can't afford to join Unacademy, then keep associated with us, keep sharing the content that we are providing, and work towards making this YouTube family bigger and better. We'll keep bringing more and more content for you, and the only fees that you have to pay, my friend, is that you have to work hard and you have to share and like each and every video that we are uploading. So that way this family gets bigger. Even the student in a rural area can take the benefit of the free initiatives that we have started. And my friend, you also get the best rank in GATE without having to stress about how to pay. So if you can't be paying or you can't afford to pay, then make sure that you are building this YouTube family, a bigger and a better YouTube family, the biggest and the best community of all electrical engineers. So that is all from my side. See you again in the next lecture. Thank you.